for our Surah Maryam and Surah Taha. Our Hufaz will be reading today, inshallah. We have Shaykh Ahmad Tahir. He's very regular in our masjid.
Allah yakramkum, inshallah. Allah yakramkum,
inshallah. Inshallah, he's going to talk about in a bit, about
the surah.
About
reflections,
the surah,
yes, sir.
As well, inshallah, and then he's going to talk about some important cause he's here for, inshallah.
Allah yakramkum, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. Just to be clear about the time, Sheikh Asim, I have until Fajr is about 5:30. We need to stop before suhoor. 20 minutes before suhoor, around 5 o'clock, alhamdulillah. I thought, no, we'll give you enough time for suhoor, don't worry, inshallah. We'll give you enough time for suhoor, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Once again, I have been since the beginning of Ramadan, after Fajr, giving reflection on the ayat or the recited ayat of the Quran. And I would like normally to speak about the theme of every chapter in the Quran and try to understand the connection and what's behind it. So the chapter before Surah Maryam is Surah Al-Kahf, right? And before Surah Al-Kahf is Surah Al-Isra. And we know that the general theme of Surah Al-Isra is وَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي أَسْرَى بِعَبْدِهِ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ الْأَقْصَى. It's the Masjid al-Aqsa and the trial of Bani Israel. And the surah started by talking about, the trial of Bani Israel and how they will be having the upper hand and they will be losing that as a result of their mischief. And the surah concluded by talking about Bani Israel and ended by Alhamd. الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل والله أكبر كبيرا. And then Surah Al-Kahf comes in to talk about Alhamd. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzal ala abdihi al-kitab. So there is a connection, by the way, with all the chapters of the Quran, and there is a connection within the themes of every chapter in the Quran, and every juz'u, by the way, has a certain theme that one needs to pay attention to. Now, alhamdulillah, Surah Al-Kahf was concluded, right, Shaykhuna? And Surah Al-Kahf is a unique surah for us as Muslimin, right? And we have here, mashallah, a young Hafiz who's asked me to make a special dua. I will, inshallah, make a special dua for him at the end of this, so that Allah will give him, inshallah, the hifz of the Quran and give him the barakah and make him, inshallah, from the scholars who interpret the Quran, inshallah. Allahumma ameen. Now, we memorize Surah Al-Kahf, or at least the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf or the conclusion of Surah Al-Kahf. What's the hikmah? What's the purpose? Anyone knows from the young people? Why do we memorize the first 10 ayah or the last 10 ayah of Surah Al-Kahf? Very good, perfect. Alhamdulillah. Your dad, give it for you. The protection of a Dajjal will be, as the Prophet ﷺ told us, by memorizing the introduction of Surah Al-Kahf or the end of Surah Al-Kahf. Remember, we're trying to draw the connection between the surahs. We said the Surah Al-Isra concluded with Alhamd. قل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل والله أكبر كبيرا. Surah Al-Kahf, الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب. طيب. The Prophet ﷺ told us that if you were to memorize the beginning or the end of Surah Al-Kahf, it protects you from the trial of Ad-Dajjal. Now, Ad-Dajjal, by the way, is called Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal, right? The liar Messiah, right? طيب. Now, here comes the following chapter. The following chapter starts by talking, and by the way, Surah Al-Kahf concluded, by Tawheed. فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. Ikhlas and Tawheed. طيب. In the following chapter, Surah Maryam, Allah Azza wa Jal immediately starts talking about Tawheed and introduces to us Surah Isa alayhi salam, Al-Masih al-Haqiqi, not al-Dajjal. The true Masih, not the liar one. Why? So we will be familiar who is who and what the Masih Isa ibn Maryam will be calling for, unlike the liar Messiah. You get the connection now? So now Allah Azza wa Jal starts by showing us the real understanding of sincerity and ikhlas and tawheed to Allah Azza wa Jal. How? With kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا. Allah Azza wa Jal told us, be careful, be sincere in your ibadah, ikhlas in your ibadat at the end of Surah Al-Kahf, and then immediately gives us a practical understanding to what ikhlas and tawheed should look like by giving us the example of Yahya alayhi salam, Zakaria alayhi salam. ذكر رحمة ربك زكريا, when this devout Nabi of Allah Azza wa Jal, this sincere and mukhlas Nabi of Allah Azza wa Jal, said to Allah Azza wa Jal between him and him in the darkness of the night when he was alone, ربي هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة. Ya Allah, give me a child. هب لي من لدنك وليا. Immediately Allah Azza wa Jal responded to him. This is the real and practical understanding to the ikhlas and sincerity and tawheed in your connection with the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. And then after the story of Zakaria comes the story of Maryam and Isa alayhi salam. Isa, Allah Azza wa Jal said to us, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ. The story, for the sake of time, will not get into the details of it, but Allah Azza wa Jal conveyed to us and portrayed for us as if we are able to see, a video image for what is happening, to Isa alayhi salam in his birth, in his cradle. إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا. الله أكبر. Isa ibn Maryam will be giving us the real description of the true Masih or the true Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, not the liar who will be claiming to be God. You got the connection? Because the liar Messiah will be coming saying, I am God. And they will be following him. They will be fooled with him because of what he present to them. And we will see inshallah how the connection also with this theme comes along in the next chapter, which is the chapter of Taha. ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. Throughout the chapter of Taha, Surah Taha, Allah Azza wa Jal also introduces to us a very important, concept that we need to be mindful and aware of. What's the main theme or the tool Al-Masih al-Dajjal will be using in his trial? Magic, right? He will come to a desert land, boom, he does whatever his magic, the khayrat, all the vegetations will come out. Vice versa, come to a greenish land and doom it and will become dry. Will be coming to the person and and do magic stuff. So Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be mindful. Do not be fooled with the actions of magicians. ثم تولى فرعون فجمع كيده ثم أتى. قال جئتنا لتخرجنا من أرضنا بسحرك يا موسى فلنأتينك بسحر مثله فاجعل بيننا وبينك موعد لا نخلفه نحن ولا أنت مكانا سوى. When Musa alayhi salam presented to Fir'aun la'natullah alayh the real evidences, not magic, not fooling the eyes, real stuff. Throwing the stick becomes a snake, putting his arm under his armpit comes glorying and showing him to the power of Allah Azza wa Jal. He said to him, Fir'aun was astonished. He was like speechless, but he could not, his ego prevented him from admit the resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. Oh, I'm sorry, we're talking about Fir'aun, not. I'm sorry about that. Just sometimes the similarity is too big. The UN Council, the secret, what do you call it? Security Council have passed a resolution. People are laughing about it because there is a similarity. There is a similarity between the Fir'aun of this time and the Fir'aun of Musa alayhi salam. There's a clear connection, not only in the actions but with the heritage also. Everything is understood. I always get myself in when I talk in public, and I need to be careful, by and sending the right message. So when the magicians all get together and قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون أول من ألقى قال بل ألقوا فإذا حبالهم وعصيهم يخيل إليه من سحرهم أنها تسعى. Ya Allah, even Musa alayhi salam, the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, was intimidated. فأوحينا إليه. Allah Azza wa Jal immediately revealed to him, calm down ya Musa, إنما يصنع كيد الساحر ولا يفلح الساحر حيث أتى. Don't worry. Never in the history of mankind falsehood was able to defeat the truthhood. And never in the modern history, the propaganda of the falsehood will be able to defeat the act of the truthhood on land. Just before coming, I was listening to our own national broadcast company, and I was like, subhanallah, I stopped listening to it for a long time, but today I said I wanted to see and hear what's going on. My blood pressure shooted up to the sky, and I said, forget it, let's turn it off, this is it. My brothers and sisters, haqq is haqq and falsehood is falsehood. Quran is Quran, and Quran is there to help us be, understanding how we live our life. Quran is not only for beautiful recitation, and this is the message I'm sending to my younger brothers, my children, who are attempting to memorize the Quran to become da'i to the deen of Allah, as my younger brother was asking. He wants to be a scholar. To be a scholar, you need to understand, absorb the Quran, not only recite the Quran, only for the tone or the vocal of the voice of the Quran. Comprehend it. This is a Quran that and Allah Azza wa Jal have made it furqan, made it a tool for you to help you be able to see clearly in your life. Tonight, our brothers from IDRF, generously, and I say generously, meaningfully, have come to give us a chance to be able to give ourselves the ability to do something, to be in the truthhood side. We don't need to talk much about what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Gaza. There is, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me going from different places to another places. Last 2 nights, I was in an event and I was talking about the people of Gaza, and a sister collapsed. She had a nerve breakdown. And to my, I felt awful about after that, because what I spoke about brought an avalanche of raw emotions and feelings and images to her mind, because she was in Gaza. She just came from Gaza, and she told us about how number of her family members were killed. And she said in her own words, this is what she told me, wallahi. She told me, I wish that Allah Azza wa Jal will be killing the rest of my family, so they die as shuhada and find someone to bury them, rather than staying in hunger and in misery and die out of the lack of medications and food necessities, and then after that the dogs will be eating them in the streets. Khalas. I don't think I can speak any more than that. Tonight they're giving us a chance to sponsor and to give something to the people of Gaza. They say that $100 is enough to feed a family for 2 weeks. She shared with me this. She said she was talking to her family members, her sister. She said to her, what you gonna be, why you didn't prepare food for your children? She said, I only have a can of full fava beans, small can. She said, why didn't you serve it for them to iftar? She said, no, I'm saving it for the suhoor, so that they will be able to sustain the day with something in their stomach. This is what they're surviving on, my brothers and sisters. So inshallah, let's show Allah Azza wa Jal in the blessed nights of the month of Ramadan, as we're almost halfway through the month of Ramadan, that we're able to do something that inshallah will be alleviating a bit of the suffering of those who have stood up for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, to defend the Masjid al-Aqsa, to defend the integrity and honor of the Muslim Ummah. Let's do something so that when we are approaching the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, Allah Azza wa Jal will give us the barakah and will enable us to catch inshallah Laylatul Qadr. I can't speak on behalf of IDRF, and they should be talking about where the money would go and how should it go. But I recall quickly, and I know I should stop quickly, that they deal with locals on the ground. We know that the borders are sealed, and inshallah, as tonight something will happen and the borders will be opened. But even if the borders were still sealed, they deals with the locals on the ground. They have supported farmers, and the farmers are growing vegetations a little bit. And this little bit is keeping the people of Gaza still breathing. Not alive, but still breathing, like on life support. So let's inshallah do whatever it is, and let's not be concerned about the propaganda, about how the money will be reaching, all the details. Let's do it, because inshallah with the borders will be opening, there will be enough supply to aid and support the people of Gaza to be able to continue their life. May Allah Azza wa Jalla have rahmah. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.